Hello and welcome. This is Gina and I am going to show you how to make the red vellum lantern. I'm going to use this slightly different paper and it's ombre effect, but you can use any easy to fold paper that you like. Tracing paper works really well if you don't care about the color, or you can color it and then fold it. You will need a piece of paper that's 12 inches wide and 8 inches tall. You'll need a bone folder. A ruler that is clear so you can see the lines is really helpful. Otherwise you're going to have to mark half-inch marks. I'm going to use this corner rounder to make my circles that you can see here. And you're going to need a pair of scissors. Okay, let's begin. To start, we're going to measure and fold a half-inch on one edge. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to use my bone folder to score as well. So I just laid it out on a half-inch line along the ruler, and I'm going to just give it a bit of a crease. And then I'm going to turn the paper over, and I'm going to fold that half-inch back. And then we're going to stay on this back side of the paper, and we're going to divide this length, keeping the folded half-inch in place, into quarters. So I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to fold the bottom edge up to my fold line. You want to be careful and do this accurately and crease. And then unfold, and you're going to fold that same edge. Now you're going to fold it to the center and crease. And then I'm going to turn it around. Remember to keep this folded. Fold that folded edge up to the center. And this is going to make the four sides of our lantern. And then this half-inch is our overlap that we can tape the lantern together when we're done. And you'll notice that the finished lantern is significantly smaller, and that's because of all the pleating we're about to do. Okay, so we're done for now with the vertical pleats. Now we're going to turn it over, and keeping it still on the back, we're going to make a center crease, and I unfold this half-inch mark here just so that I'm not folding over double paper. So you're going to take the bottom and fold up to the top, again being accurate. You're going to give that a good crease across, and then this is going to become the one crease that we're going to twist fold. So we need a half-inch crease on either side of this, and I'm going to do that now. So my mat isn't quite long enough, and again I'm going to use my ruler with the markings. So I'm going to find the half-inch mark. I'm going to score. And you can also lift up the top layer of paper and take your scoring tool underneath and give that a slightly better crease. And then I'm going to, you can fold both layers in the one direction, but I prefer not to, so I'm going to open out the paper and then I'm going to go ahead and finish up that crease. And as I'm folding, I want to make sure that these vertical lines are matching up all the way across, so that I'm really folding a nice straight half-inch mark. And if you took my class from San Diego Book Arts, then you learned how to do the pleat without having to mark the other side. So I'm going to run my fingers along this folded edge, and then I'm going to start standing up my mountain fold, and I'm going to crease the side that's closest to me with my thumbnails, just gently, and then you can, once you get a little bit of a crease in there, you can fold it back towards you and crease it down. Now I want my lantern to have a half-inch crease at the top and a half-inch pleat at the top and a half-inch pleat at the bottom, such that I end up with a square design here in the center. So to do that, I actually need to do some measuring. Oh, and the other thing we're going to do, if you can see on the inside, is there's a half-inch fold over on both ends. So we're going to do that first. Again, we'll use the ruler to mark the half-inch, and I actually like to do it on the back side because I'm going to be making a mountain fold. So I'm going to turn it over, set my ruler down, crease along that half-inch line, and again I can get my bone folder underneath the paper and lift it and crease against my ruler. And then we're going to fold this down. And while we're here, the next measurement you need is just over an inch, so about 1 1/8 inches. If you can make it slightly wider if you want. You can't go a whole lot narrower than this, but I like this, and then it gives me that square in the middle like I was telling you before. So crease again, and lift up your paper and get your bone folder underneath there. And then you're going to fold that. And because this is going to be a pleat, we need to mark the 1/2 inch again, but we don't want to mark the 1/2 inch on this side because I want it to pleat down. So I'm going to flip my paper over. There's going to be a lot of back and forth with the paper on this. And then you're going to lay down that 1/2 inch mark. So if you're doing this without a see-through ruler, you're going to have to mark with a ruler on the edges and give it a little, make a little mark with a pencil, and then lay a ruler down and then do this bone folding. Again, we can go underneath with the bone folder and crease. And then you're going to fold that pleat down. Now you don't need to reverse the pleat like we did in the center because we're just going to have the pleat facing down. So that top part is done. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing to this bottom edge. So we'll start with our 1/2 inch fold down for the edge. Crease across. Put your folder under the paper. Give it a good crease up against your ruler. I really like this ruler because it's got some thickness to it, so it makes a nice edge for doing that bone folder. And again, just because we creased it, don't just go ahead and fold. Make sure that your vertical lines are matching up all the way across too. Accuracy counts in this project. Okay, then we're going to turn the paper over. No, we're going to leave it like this, sorry. Leave it like this, and you're going to do your 1 1/8 inch mark. So this wide line is my inch, and then I'm going to go one more mark over and 1/8. And just make sure it's straight all the way up and down. We're going to mark that. We're going to lift up the paper and bone fold. And then we're going to turn this and crease it. You can give it a good crease with the bone folder too. And now I'm going to flip the paper over because I want the valley crease for the pleat to be on this side. And don't worry if you accidentally make the crease on the wrong side, it'll be fine. And you don't have to have your two pleats on the ends folding into the middle. You can have them both fold the same direction. You can have them fold opposite directions. It's totally up to you. You can play around with the structure. Okay, and again, I'm going to be lining up my verticals, making sure that they're straight before I give it a good crease. Okay, so that's all the creases we need for the horizontal. Now we need to go back and we need to do creases that are going to be pleats in the center of each of those 4 sections. And I didn't do them at the beginning because if you put all those extra pleats in, it makes it hard to get nice straight pleats this way. So you can try it either way, but this works best for me. So I'm going to unfold all of this, all of the folds that we made. Press it flat a little bit. And I'm going to do the pleats as I go, but you can go ahead and divide each of these in half first if you want to. Actually, I'll show you that way, it's easier. So we're going to turn the paper back over because we want to make this side be mountain folds. So turn to the back, and you're going to start with that bottom edge. Hopefully you can see this. Take the bottom edge and fold it up to the first crease. Again, lining up your creases in the other direction. Give it a good crease. And then I'm going to go ahead and do all 4 of the center creases. You know what? I'm not going to because it'll make it easier for you to know which creases you're going to do. So crease the first one. And then turn it, and you're going to use your ruler again to make a 1/2 inch pleat mark. This will just be easier. I've done it both ways, and this one, you know you're doing the right crease instead of doing the crease that's in between. And then I'm going to, so I creased with my bone folder, I'm going to lift the paper, give it a little bit of a crease, and I'm going to open everything out, and I'm going to fold it up making sure my straights the other way match up. I'm going to press along this back thickness of the crease, and we're going to stand this up because this is going to be a pleat that goes in both directions. And then fold it back. Okay, so that's the first one. Then we're going to open it back up flat. We're going to take that bottom edge again, but now we're going to fold to the middle, no, not to the middle, to the third mark. Because we're folding. We're dividing the second section. So we've just made a dividing line here. So leave it folded. Turn again. You're going to do a 1/2 inch score along that folded edge. Lift up your paper, crease it a little bit more firmly, and I like to open out all the paper, crease, and then stand up the mountain, run your thumbnails and your fingernails along that bottom edge and bring it back the other way. Okay, so we've got the first two done. Now we're going to turn it around and do the other side the same way, but we're going to fold up that 1/2 inch because that's our new edge. So we're going to fold, once you fold the 1/2 inch fold, then you're going to fold the folded edge to the first crease that you come to. Crease it, turn, mark the 1/2 inch. And again, take your time and be accurate. Crease that, unfold, hold your pleat towards the edge, run your fingers along the fold where it's all doubled up, stand up your mountain, and slowly turn it the other way. And then unfold all of that, well, unfold the pleat you just made, but leave the edge folded. And now it's going to be a little hard to spot where we're going with this, but we're going to take that bottom edge and we're going to go to the fold line that does not have a pleat near the top. So in between the two that we pleated earlier, it's just a single valley fold. It doesn't have two mountains on either side of it. And that will divide that last section in half. And then we'll do our 1/2 inch line. Crease it with the bone folder, crease from underneath, open out the paper, fold along that valley crease, and this is our last pre-crease. Stand it up and fold it the other way. Okay, now we need to cut, I'm going to mark this with a pen so you can see it. We need to cut, see there's these squares here in the center. We're going to cut the mountain fold that goes vertical and horizontal through that center on all 4 of these. And you can mark yours too if you want with I would do it in pencil, not pen, just because it might show with the vellum, but you can do a pencil and then erase it. That's not so bad. And then right here. So this is where your scissors come in. And the way I like to do this is I'm going to fold along one of the mountain folds. And I like to tent this a little bit so I can bend that other mountain fold and feel it with my scissors, and line up the scissors on that fold and clip up to the valley fold. And then you can just let that one go to the next mountain fold, crease it. Sort of pinch this up a little, clip, and then next one, I'm going to be cutting just along that black line there, just to the valley fold. And then finally, you can do this last one. Okay, so now we have slits cut in one direction on all 4 of those centers. Now we're going to cut the other way. So to do that, we're just going to fold back this one pleat. If you did my other class, we had several pleats to fold, but this one we've only got the one. So we're going to clip again. Try to make it nice and straight and on that line. the way to the valley fold. And clip. And clip. Okay. On the two lanterns that I've already made, I turned these cut bits into circles. And the way I did that was you take one of these, oh, let me show you what it looks like. So it's, you've got these openings now that go in two directions. So go back to having it folded and then fold over again so that all four of these cut pieces are lined up. And then I have this corner rounder, and I'm going to stick them in my corner rounder and line it up straight. Punch, and this paper doesn't really love going through, but you can see where it was supposed to cut, and you just finish the cut there. And anyway, you're going to be rounding off that corner. You don't have to do this, and you can try other shapes, but I kind of like the circle in the center. And like I said, just give it a little rounding. Now, if you don't have a corner punch, you can always do the same fold them all up. So all four of those open cut corners are lined up, and then you can just, let me do this with a pencil. All you want to do is a curve that goes from one corner to the other where it's all open here. So you start at the corner and you just do a cut that curves around. It won't be quite as symmetrical as doing it with the corner rounder, but not everybody has one of these. So you can still do it, just use your scissors. Okay, now it's all down to folding this up. So the first thing we need to do is fold these center pleats and make the circles. So you can do this either direction, but I'm gonna do it this way, I think. So you're gonna stand up each of these pleats. Make sure your mountain is mounted. We reversed some of them to do that cutting, so get them back to being mountains on both sides, and make sure the valleys are nicely folded. So for right now, just stand these four up, and then what you're going to do is the top half, see how these can move independently of each other? One half is going to go in one direction, the other half is going to go in the other direction. But then the next one needs to mirror that. So this one went to the left, so this one has to go to the right. And the bottom one has to go the opposite of the top one. And then this one, because it went to the right, this one goes to the left. And then the bottom one, you know, goes the opposite direction. And because this went to the left, this one's going to go to the right. And then the bottom goes opposite. So this is what it should look like when you've done the first fold of your pleat. And then to show the circles, you're going to take this center where we pleated in both directions, you're going to lift it up like this, and then these areas just fall open. And then I like to give it a good crease. Okay, now that we've done that, we can do the crease. Well, we can start at the bottom and we can start redoing the creases that are already there, but I'm going to turn it over because it's easier to make the mountain fold. So flip it over and start at the very bottom where you have the 1/2 inch fold. Fold everything up and crease it all, because now you've got all these layers of pleats that you didn't have before. And then the next is also a mountain fold. So fold that up. And if you're using vellum or tracing paper here, these folds really want to stay. But with this paper, it's a little bit looser. And then I'm going to turn it over so that I can do this valley fold that comes next. It's just easier to do valley folds on the front side. Okay, so that's the bottom half done, or the top half, whichever. I'm going to turn it around and do exactly the same thing. So turn it around, flip it over, fold up that first mountain fold, the 1/2 inch. This just gives you a nice edge at the top and bottom of your lantern. and then fold up the next crease. You can turn it over and you fold up that last valley fold. So now all your pleats and all your twists are done. And the last thing you're going to fold up is this 1/2 inch fold on the side. You want to do that one last so that all the pleats overlap correctly. And then, so it should look like that on the back. And you notice it's sort of spreading out. Don't worry about that. We'll fix it when we do the rest. Now I like to use double stick tape to tape this together. If you're using tracing paper, you can use glue. But if you're using vellum or this sort of, it's plasticized on the back, this paper, the glue doesn't like to stick very well and it will show. So I just use some double stick tape. It's 3/8 inch, so it's a little bit narrower than the 1/2 inch. And I just run it along this edge and cut it off. You can use your bone folder to make sure it's down nice and tight. And then you want to do, we have 3 more folds to do. So there's these folds that go in between the sides of our lantern. So we're going to refold those. And again, they haven't been folded when all these other things are folded up. So just, especially on the top and bottom folds, make sure that the crease is lining up and going in the right direction. So just go through and crease these. I like to turn over that last one, it's easier to get to. And then you can put this together by sort of lifting it all up and lining these 2 sides up and, you know, trying to get it straight. Or, and this is easier, just close this first fold and open out this 1/2 inch overlap, making sure that it's not tucked under any of the pleats. I'm going to take off the lining of the tape, and then all you do is close the first segment on this side. And again, see how this is sort of spreading out? Make sure that you are bringing it together. So I like to start at the bottom, line up my bottom edge, and just kind of make sure that your pleats are flat. And you can lift this back up a little bit because the tape is slightly forgiving. And it may not line up exactly perfectly. It's a little bit wider on this side than it is on this side, but that's okay. And then you can stretch it in the other direction, and voila, you have a lantern. Thanks for watching. I hope you try this at home. Bye.